Hey guys, RanquestLP here, bringing you episode number 3 of Civ 5 as Korea. Where we last left off, we had just finished building our second city, Busan, which is level 1. We finished the Great Library in Seoul. Let's look at the cities in here. And we are currently working on a watermill, which will give us some more food in the city, help us grow. It will also give us more production. And also, while I'm looking at here, now that we're not working on a Great Wonder, just as of right now, I want to switch back to default focus. And this will give us a little bit more growth. We need to grow our cities a lot more. And the more we grow our cities, the more that we're automatically going to be utilizing some of these tiles. And now that we've got most of our resources covered, we've got three more to build. We've got our traps, and then these 2 diamonds to build. We can start building some farms and start getting some good growth inside of Seoul. And again, we are going to want to get another worker as well. We will switch that off after the watermill so that we can actually start producing and growing up Busan as well. Another thing that I want to get done today is I want to set up a caravan. So we're going to need, we have a granary. Actually, do we have that yet? Let's take a look. Add to queue. We do not. So what we need to do is we need to build a granary in Seoul first, and that will allow us to be able to send food in our trade route over to Busan, and that will give Busan a lot more extra growth. And then we can also, as far as trade routes, we can only have one right now, but as our techs grow, we can have multiple ones, and that will give us the ability to start sending them in both directions. And then eventually in the future we can, once we get the ability to build workshops, we can send production that way. So if we're building great works in certain cities, well, it'll allow us to send production from different cities to help with those great works, or units and multiple different things. So let's get started. Let's look at what we've got for production. Let's set up some queues. So we're working on the watermill. We did take it off of production focus. Let's see which gives us an extra turn on there, but I think the added growth will be essential for us going down the line. So we've got the watermill growing here. We're going to need to build a granary as well as another worker. So I think the best thing that we should do, especially considering we're going to have to send the worker all the way there and start working on producing, is to add the worker to the queue, which is going to be 10 turns, and then from there we're going to work on the granary to get that started. And I mean, there are there's other great works or wonders that we can work on, but other than added growth and different things like that, I don't think that they are essential. We don't want to get stuck building too many wonders, because we're actually going to lose some of the added value of just the basic buildings and adding units and things like that. So we're going to hold off in some of the earlier wonders, and a lot of times too that some of those wonders end up becoming obsolete, and so we just want to be careful with that. The main one, as far as our goal was to get the Great Library started, and we got that, which is fantastic. So alright, so we've got our worker. We want him to head there. Next turn he'll start working on the trap. So let's go. Okay, the statue of Zeus. So let's see what that... Zeus? Nope, not Zeus slash. Statue of Zeus. That gives it culture. And... okay, so it requires honor, and all units gain 15% combat strength. Now, seeing what wonders that a Civ builds is really important. So Sweden has just built the Statue of Zeus, which means it gains an additional 15% combat strength when it's attacking cities. So they are going to be a militaristic city, so we're essentially going to want to suck up to them. And they have a fantastic starting zone. Holy crap. that is out of control. They've got 2 sets of gems, they've got fish, they've got sheep, they've got 3 sets of deers, die, and horses. Wow. Alright, so we're going to want to be careful with these guys. Try to suck up to them. They've got their Parthenon started. Okay. And that pretty much shows, and actually, if you look back at our score, Sweden is in first place, which not by far, and then followed by Attila, and we've also then got us. So we've climbed the ranks pretty far in the game. So let's see, take a look at a couple other areas. India's got some sugar and wine, and that's another thing too. It's always good to take a look at what other people have as far as their resources. As far as what we can see, anyways, because you'll be able to identify some potential good trading partners. Okay, so let's move. I want to move our archer this way so that we can uncover this area. That way, if there's anything of importance up in this area, we may be able to rush another settler up that way. Alright, set up a trap. Go in the hills. And one thing when you're exploring too, if you're doing it by manual, a good thing to do is try to find all the hills, because hills will give you added visual range. Some bananas, some spices. We've lost gold, which is not that big of a deal. If I remember correctly, that gold came from selling an embassy. So, excuse me, you may hear some sound. I might get a drink. Okay, so we've got a new social policy, which is actually really nice. I completely forgot about this. We'll be able to switch our production. So by adopting citizenship, this improves the construction rate by 25%, and we get a free worker. So we can do 2 things, and I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to try to pump up Seoul as much as possible before I start sending a worker over that way. But now that we cut that in time too. Now that we have built that worker, I'm going to take him out, and I want to add a caravan to the queue instead of the worker. Okay. So here I want to add a farm, and I believe we're gonna get +2 food from the farm, and I think we're gonna get 1 more from the fact that we're removing the marsh. So that may be a +4. I'm not 100% sure. City of Busan is now level 2, which is great. We've got extra food going. It'll be 6 turns till we get to level 3. And we've also got a barbarian boat that we can completely wipe out. Dance of the Aurora. Who's that? Attila. Okay. I don't think we've actually found. Let's trade with Attila. Let's get some embassies rocking. So Attila's first city is up here, and wow! He's got a ton of resources too. So he's got 3 sets of copper, which is also a luxury resource, and it gives you a huge amount of gold. Wow. Alright. But what's interesting is he's actually got another city over here, which is quite a ways, so maybe he's got more than 2 cities. I'm not sure.
Mathematics is the gate and key to the sciences. Proud is the spirit of Zeus-fostered kings. Their honor comes from Zeus, and Zeus, god of counsel, loves them.
So we've got a lot of things happening. We've just discovered mathematics, and on top of that, by discovering mathematics, we've entered the classical area. And honestly, well, there's a couple different things that end up happening. Every era that you get into will change some of the totals for things like great merchants. So every time great merchants, one of their powers is you can conduct a trade mission, and depending on which era you're in, that will change the value of how much gold you get from that trade mission. But other than that, I mean, it's a good indicator as far as where you are versus other people. And the way you change eras is by discovering one technology within that era. So it's a decent indicator, but it's not always a good indicator of exactly what people are focusing on. So from there, we've just got mathematics. We're going to go with bronze working. And I actually want to go back and get sailing. That will finish off our last tech in the ancient era. But I want to get some boats running, because I believe if we look in this area, we do have some shallow area, and it looks like there is an island in this zone, but we'll be able to further discover and see how big our continent really is, and maybe we can get some good resources. If there's an island in this area that's of decent size, we can actually colonize it. But and then on top of that, it actually unlocks cargo ships, and cargo ships are similar to that of caravans. The only difference is that they go through the water, so you get a little bit more range as far as the cargo ship, and they actually provide you with a little bit more in terms of resources. So we may be able to trade with Hanoi, but to begin with, I'm going to want to make sure that I establish a trade route with Busan, because I want to grow internally before I start looking outside. And once we get our first trading unit, I'll go over the interface from there. So we've got our deer rolling. We've got 2 foods and 2 hammers from there, which is really nice. And then what I'm going to want to do is this guy. I'm going to construct a route. So I'm going to move him here, and then I'm going to construct a route. Now, roads, what they do, again, they allow you to travel faster through your terrain, but on top of that, what they allow you to do is they allow you to create, it's similar to a trade route, but essentially they allow you to connect your trade network together, and by doing that, it actually gives you a little bit more money per turn. So every road costs 1 gold maintenance, which is a little bit rough, but I believe going forward it will give us enough money to make it worthwhile. So a little bit more exploring with that unit. some stone. Stonehenge has been built in a faraway land. So that actually gives us two indicators. If you have not discovered a sieve, it will tell you that the the wonder was built in a faraway land. So there's really only two people that could have built that wonder, either unmet player above us or unmet player below us. But I'm thinking it's going to be the above one. So once we find them, we'll know that they've built it. All the other wonders, when they're actually built, it'll tell us that, you know, who built them. So I believe we saw that with the statue of Zeus. Okay, so
With
bronze
a spear,
working.
11 cubits long in his hand, the
We can
bronze
build some
point
spearmen,
gleamed in
some
front of him,
barracks.
and was
We can get the
fastened
statue of
to the
Zeus,
shaft of the
which
spear
we
by a
can't
ring
because
of gold.
Augustus has built that. It unlocks iron, and we can remove jungles with it. So, good news, we actually have iron, and it's right next to our city, which is awesome. And once we colonize this iron, we will actually get 6 from it. So we'll be able to build 6 units that require iron, which is nice. And I will be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, we've finished bronze working. Let's see, what tech should we look towards? Let's open up the technology tree. Oh yeah, so we're going to want to get sailing, and that's going to give us a little bit more ocean exploration. But let's look a little bit down the road. So one thing we're going to want to do, we want to push our science as much as possible. And so eventually we're going to want to get to, say, education. That's going to be a really big big tech for us. So if we just go down and hit education, it's going to give us our roundabout way of getting there. So what they prioritize first as far as getting there is drama and poetry, which will give us some decent things. Then it's going to move to, let's see, theology, and then it's going to bring us back to horseback riding, and then forward. So I think that we're going to want to, considering we have 2 ocean cities, I think we're going to want to push for the ocean techs a little bit before we go that way. And that will, being on the ocean directly, we're going to want to up our production from there as much as possible. So we'll get those 2. We'll get optics and sailing and optics. Sailing and optics, and then we'll go from there and look towards getting that. So this may not actually be the path that we go, but it's at least a little bit of an indicator. So after we get optics, we'll take a look at what our situation is again. Unit needs orders, and he's working on a road, and I didn't actually get the route. I want to build a route to here. So he's going to auto build a road. Going forward, he's going to find the best route to get there. Hopefully it's not some roundabout way. I believe he'll just cut straight through. Keep pressing forward with that guy. Do a little bit more exploration. There's some citrus in this area. There's some more of Attila. Busan is a level 3, which is nice. Let's see what he's working. So he's prioritizing growth, mainly because there's not that much production in this area yet. So he's got the bananas and the cattle working. And Seoul is a level 4. He's working just about everything that I'd want him to work on. Ooh, and we've actually hit our first golden age. And the way that golden ages work is for 10 turns you get increased money in production, and golden ages are produced based off of your happiness. So for every happiness that you get points towards your golden age, which right now we can't see it because we have the ticker going. So while in golden age, every tile in your empire produces at least 1 gold, produces it 1 extra. You gain 20% production, and empire-wide culture is increased by 20%, which is fantastic. I mean, you want to be in golden ages as much as possible, and the way you get golden ages is by having your cities be happy. So the happier your cities, the more you'll actually get these. And there's some social policies that allow you to increase the duration of your golden ages. There's also things like the Taj Mahal, which does that. So there's some modifiers that you can do to extend these, which will be very important going down the road. But yeah, so the happier your cities are, the better you get. Now that comes back around to, you're going to want as many luxury resources as you can get. You're going to want plenty of happiness buildings, which we'll eventually get to once we unlock them. But that's also combated by unhappiness. So there's a trade-off. So every population that you have, you're going to generate 1 unhappiness. Which is kind of a detriment to having big empires. But as we build different buildings, those will all be combated. So right now we're producing a healthy set. We've got a heavy 7 happiness, which is not bad, especially for the size of where we are and where we're in the game. So. Hanoi seeks investors. Okay, so this is one of those quests that I was talking about. As you discover city-states, they will send you quests, and if you complete those quests, what they'll do is that will give you bonus reputation with them. And so the quest for Hanoi is to give gold, and so this quest, it's based off of 30 turns, and as far as a maximum value goes, so we don't have to give them any money right now. We could wait till turn 30 and then give them a lump sum, and if we are the highest as far as who has given the money, then we'll get the bonus reputation. I mean, and that also gets, if we give a gift, we can't actually do too many of those at the moment, just because we only have so much income currently. We can give gold to improve resources, but I'm going to hold on to our gold because I think our gold is better held in our hands for now. Eventually we'll get to the point where, if we're making enough money on our own, we should be able to buy city-states pretty easily. I mean, we could always go and take over the city-state if we wanted to, but a lot of times it's generally better to have them as allies than to try to take them over. So alright, so we're trying to push tech. So I think we don't have a lot of production in this city. So I think we need to get some science going here. So I'm going to put a library there. And it's going to take 20 turns, which is a little bit It's going to take a little bit, but I think in the long run, we're going to need that. So we've got 2 turns till our caravan starts and 2 turns till we get sailing. People who like shiny things the most. These pop-ups they're very nice. They will give you a list of rankings depending on certain aspects. So this one with the people who like the shiny things the most, this is based off of gold. So we are in rank number 5 and we have 233 gold. And if you look, unmet player number 1 has a total 538 gold, followed by Pachacudi, Attila, and so on. And you'll get these pops. I wish that you could actually see these a little bit more often. Kind of like an overall ranking, but you only get one essentially stat every X amount of years. So mine. Okay, so let's take a look at our demographics. Alright, so this shows a general overview of all of those stats. So gold, so one of the items was gold, and it's not directly shown here, but it shows you income in GNP, so gross national product. So we are number 3 as far as GNP, which is not bad. That's pretty decent. Literacy, we are number 2. That means that we've got there's one other person that has a tech higher than us. But this modifier is actually really scary. We're going to want to fix this as fast as possible. We are in dead last in troops. And again, like I was saying before, the AI actually has a better overview of these stats. They can actually see everybody's stats as far as, you know, their military, what they produce and all that. And us being in last place as far as soldiers, just because we haven't built any, puts us in a dangerous position where some of the more militaristic civs, especially if any of them are close to us, will actually try to target us. So we're going to want to start building a couple more units. And now that we have horses and we have iron, or at least we will in a couple of turns, we're going to want to start building those units. So I think I'm going to produce some more archers that I can station within each one of the cities, and that will give us a little bit more of a boost. Temple of Artemis is built in a faraway land. So unmet player has been focusing on
the scene, has command of everything.
Wonders. Okay, and so we've got our caravan, our first caravan, and these units, you can't actually move them directly. They get stationed in a city, and the way that you use them is they have these established, they have 2 buttons. You have established trade route, which we'll show in a second. They also have your change your home city. And so you may want to do that from time to time, depending on, you know, who you're trading, depending where they are. But we're going to hit establish a trade route, and this will show us what our options are. So we can make 2 different routes. We can either make one straight to Busan, which gives us, again, like I mentioned, +4 food per turn in Busan. And you have to have, in order to do this, you need to have a granary within the city that you are sending the caravan away. So if I were to switch the caravan to Busan, I wouldn't be able to send food back to Seoul just yet. But alternatively, I can also send my trade route to a different civ, and this will give us, or give me as well as the receiver of the caravan, different benefits. So if I were to send my trade right to Mumbai, which is towards India, what I would get is I would get +4 gold per turn, as well as I would also get +1 science per turn. And then Mumbai, or India, would get +1 gold per turn and +1 science per turn. And essentially the way the science is distributed is it's based off of your tech difference. So Mumbai has a tech that I don't know, and I have a tech that they don't know. So that's why we're getting +1 science in either direction. So other city civs that don't, that say if we're even, that may not actually be there, and it'd just be a gold difference. So you want to kind of weigh your options, because you may not want to be trading techs with certain civs. If someone's ahead of you, which Gandhi is not ahead of us, they're kind of tied with us. We're 5 points ahead, which could be in any number of categories. We may want to hold off from that, but I think for right now, I think the best option is to try to grow Busan. So we're going to send him +4, and they don't last forever. So caravans, I believe they're based off of number of turns, and eventually it will prompt us again as to where we want to send the caravan. For right now, we're sending our food to Busan, but after that trade mission is done, we can choose to send it somewhere else, and it may change depending on who adds cities. We gain modifiers that extend our range as far as our trade goes. So we'll take a look once that comes back. All right, so what I want to do, I actually want to build a trireme, and this is our first naval unit. It's only going to take 3 turns, which is not very long, and we'll be able to explore it. So this will add to our military, which is nice, and we'll be able to explore from there. I also eventually, what I want to do is I want to see this. Oop. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. My video settings are actually set to when I'm editing or rendering the video for different episodes, it's set to pop up the video, and I'm actually trying to multitask at this point. So I had to stop real quick before you started hearing extra stuff in the background. Alright, so yeah, so I'm going to start building a trireme. I'm going to switch back. I want to build a barracks from here, and then what the barracks will do is it'll give us 15 experience from all the units starting off the bat. So we'll actually get, we will get some promotions on all the units that we're building. And so from there, I want to build, I believe, probably about 3 or 4 units. Maybe I'm going to build a catapult, which is an important siege weapon. Pretty much when you're attacking cities, which I really don't have a plan to do, but if, for some reason I have to, if you're attacking a city, with the new battle system, with having only 1 unit per tile, catapults are really important. In order to take them out, or take a city out, you're going to need to have a healthy amount of siege and ranged weapon on top of having some melee troops as well. So any military is going to need siege weapons. They're too important to not have. But so from there, what I want to do is I want to build the barracks and then go and start building some ranged units, some catapults. That way we can pump up that military score so that at least the higher military ranked players will look away from us when they're looking to see cities for conquest. A lot of times that they'll generally go for civs that are right next to each other. So having Sweden being so far away is actually a good thing for us, but as they expand, they're going to start looking elsewhere for battle targets. So we definitely want to pump up that battle score. So, all right, so we've got our first caravan. We sent it to Busan. Let's get a couple more turns in before we have to go. Set that trireme. Next turn. So it looks like we found it. We already knew where Tillis Court was, but it looks like they actually pushed their city all the way over here. I'm not really sure why they sent it. Maybe they were looking for this iron for their first city, but it's very rare to see a civ push their second city so far away from their first one. The Call has just entered the classical era. We've got Tundra, so we're actually coming to the top of the map. 16. Busan demands copper. Okay. Yes, I understand you demand copper. Luckily, we've got...
Olaya keciltis. Malala tu zapir.
You have not colonized your copper yet. Looks like you have. Alright, so we've built our first trireme. Let's get the barracks going. And our... This jungle is killing me. Usually, you know, I think it's because we changed the temperature of our map, but a lot of times you won't actually have this much jungle, so you'd be able to explore a lot more quickly. Hello, barbarians. How are you? Alright, so we also just got our first piece of iron. We've got 6 in total, which is extremely nice. And yep, so we've got our workers building our roads this way. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more roads to go, which will put us into negative money, but I believe that we will make back a lot more from having our cities connected. So... we've actually got a religion founded. Wow. Now, one thing with the boats, as far as damage goes, let's take a look again. Boats, when they take damage, the only way that you can repair a boat is if you end up if you are stationed in friendly territory. So that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in your own territory. If you are, say if we are friends with someone like Hanoi, then if we're in their territory, we can actually dock in there and then heal up. But anywhere that's not anybody's territory, if we are low on health, we cannot repair. So we want to be careful when we're attacking barbarians, because that will... that could change the tides of things, so. And it looks like our unmet players have actually jumped up quite a
Made
bit.
an instrument to know if the moon shine at full or no.
And we found another natural wonder. Very nice. We have found Mount Kilimanjaro. Very cool. Alright. So we've got a promotion for our trireme. But this is a tricky situation. Okay, so we can either do Coastal Raider, which will give us 20% more combat strength when attacking cities. And that's another thing, as far as boats go. A trireme is is a melee boat. So it actually has the ability to attack a city, but it acts as something like, like a warrior would in melee combat. There are also ranged boats that you can use to bombard cities. So those are two different two different good things to have. So, but this one here, so we can either get 20% more damage to cities, which we don't really plan on doing, or we can get boarding party, which will give us 15% combat strength against other naval units. So we're going to want to do that, but I'm actually going to pull back because I don't want to lose my trireme. We just got it. Ouch. So our golden age has just ended, and we are now in some pretty heavy debt. We're -5 gold per turn, and that's going to take a while to go away. Once we connect our cities, that should right itself. Also, cities will eventually shift their production base to make sure that we will get to positive gold as fast as possible. So. Okay. What do we want to build? So we just built a barracks. But we do have a chance to build some wonders. We may want to... Okay, so we can choose to build the mausoleum, the pyramids, or the great lighthouse. The mausoleum, I'm not thinking that we're going to want to build it. The only marble that we actually have near us is this one out here, but the city won't actually ever be able to work it. So that kind of would be a waste. I mean, I know you get an extra culture per turn, and every time you expend a great person, you get some money. So there are other benefits to it. But as far as the static bonuses that we get, it's not really going to help us in the long run. And somebody may actually be working on it as we speak. So oh no, that's us. Okay, I thought that was a barbarian. The Great Lighthouse, if we build that, we will be able to move and be able to see further. So, plus we get culture. Great Merchant Point. Let's go for the Great Lighthouse. I think that will actually give us a better benefit going forward. Crap, we're being attacked again. So let's go back up top here. Are we in a defensible spot? Yes, we are. We're in the woods, so we have some pretty decent defense. They are out in the open, and so when they're attacking us, they will take a penalty. So let's heal and try to... We may lose this unit, which is a little sad, but I think we're okay as far as defense, at least for now. Let's move him back into port, and then as you can see, we can fortify and heal. Okay. So I think, look, based off the time, I think I'm going to call it at this episode. We've gotten a pretty decent amount done. We've got some military units that are starting to work. We're working on the Great Lighthouse. We have our first naval unit, and we established a trade route, which is fantastic. So we got, I believe, everything that we wanted to get done. Unfortunately, Ouch. There's more barbarians. Jeez. Let's push him back. So I think we're in decent shape. Let's look at some of our demographics. And I think I want to start working. I want to show this at the beginning of the episode and then at the end as well. So I'm going to start doing that. And if we look at our demographics, we are still last as far as soldiers go, which we'll work on that. We have the setup to do that. We are in second still for literacy, right behind what looks like, I believe that's Pachacuti. So he has the highest tech. Population, we're in eighth, and the population identifier doesn't really give you much, and I'm not exactly sure how they get this number. It's not directly related to the population in your cities, so that one is kind of silly. But okay, so here are our demographics. Next episode we look to improve upon that, especially the soldiers one. I want to build a couple units. We're going to need to work on improving our gold situation, which once we get this city connected to our capital, that will actually go back up. And there's some decent, I believe what we'll probably do is go towards currency for our next tech, and that will unlock mints as well as markets, and so we'll be able to start producing some good gold there. And maybe in the next episode we'll try building a third city, because we're going to need we're going to want 3. Maybe in this area, because we have a river. Hopefully India doesn't push further into or towards our territory. We may end up pushing our city over here, and but we'll see. So once we start exploring, we'll find a decent area to put our city. Who knows? There may be something over here as well. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Please, if you liked the episode, leave a like, add a comment, subscribe, but we'll see you next time. Bye.